Hello, I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview, where we talk to local business owners about their journey. This week, I'm talking to David Weaver of Weaver UK, a family-run business based in Oakham, in Rutland, smallest county in the country. David, welcome.
Thank you, Rupert. Yeah, pleasure.
First of all, explain to us what you do, how you got into it, how long you've been doing it.
We've been doing it for around about 20 years,
Hmm.
and it is Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning.
Okay.
And it's a service that we offer to the area of Rutland and the surrounding
Hmm.
villages. How did we get into it? I was actually made redundant from a medical company,
Yeah.
um, and this opportunity came up, and yeah, we just took it. And it's been enjoyable. Working for yourself is very enjoyable because all the effort you put in is for your own benefit and your families, as opposed to your boss and the
Yep.
shareholders and the dividend people. Yeah, so yeah, it's very rewarding and
Excellent.
satisfying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Well, I would say it's not so much the learning how to clean and service carpets and upholstery. It's more the money side of it. It begins with the money that you're putting into the business, then
Hmm.
the money you're taking out of the business, and in the middle, it's all about the money.
Yeah.
So right from beginning to end, it's been learning about, well, how much do we want to invest in the business? How much is our weekly expenditure going to be on fuel, on solutions and chemicals? How much stock do we need? How do we replenish the stock? Those are all the costs you're putting into the business. Well, how much am I now going to charge the customer for the job that I'm going to do?
Yeah.
When are they going to pay? What am I going to do if they don't pay on time? How am I going to chase them? Getting that money in is important to your cash flow. Well, now you've got it in, I now need to learn about, oh, I need to pay myself a salary. I need a pension. I need a private medical insurance. My wife needs the same. Then I've got to pay tax. Once I paid tax and VAT, I'm now going to look at, well, is there any dividend left, or do I want to invest what's left over back in the business again? It's all about the money. It's totally interactive. All those elements impact each other. So to learn that whole process has been a phenomenal challenge, rewarding.
Yeah.
Um, but every year you wait for the accountant to say, what are the figures? How good are they? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest part, learning
Yeah.
about money.
And it's a really valid point, actually. So I tell all my clients, that anyone I talk to, that I feel that the budget and the financial forecast are the best indicator of what your business is going to become.
Yeah,
And it absolutely, as you say, links to everything else in the business, because it goes right through from, well, right through to how many leads you need to generate for the business, how many sales you then got to convert.
yeah,
As you mentioned, obviously cash flow is very important. How long does it take people to pay? How quickly do your suppliers want to be paid? And also,
yeah,
of course, the performance of your staff as well.
yes. Well, we put key performance indicators on the order book. How quickly
Hmm.
does that order book fill? What's next month's order book like? So there's a KPI on the order book. There's a
Yep.
KPI on the hourly rate that we charge or the
Yep.
average price per job. There's a KPI on the speed at which we get the money in. Because those are probably the 4 or 5 break points. If you get those wrong, you can be the best carpet cleaner in the world. If people aren't paying you and you're not
Yeah.
chasing them,
Yeah.
you're going to run out of money. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the bottom line, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
don't have the business coming in, you don't have a business.
Yes.
And it's interesting you say that as well, because so many people go into business because they're doing something they love
Yeah.
and forget they've actually got to sell what they're making or doing or providing as a service as well.
Yes. How much income do they want to generate for themselves from
Yep.
the service that they are offering? And if they can't work that out and can't come back and say, I want 10,000, I want 30,000, I want
Mm,
60,000. If they don't know what that number is, they're in trouble before they start. How
yeah.
much
No,
money do they need to live off?
yeah. No, absolutely. So what are your aspirations for the company in the next 5 years?
We are we're probably in the phase now where we're looking at daughters and do they want to run the business themselves? Do they want to take
Hmm.
over the business? Or would we look at selling the business over the next 10 years or so? Um, we've reached a point where it's optimized.
Yeah.
So we are very good. 80% of our customer base is repeat business.
Oh, brilliant. Yep.
So we're
This
only
says
looking
so much
to
about the
generate,
business as well.
yeah, a few new customers come in every year to replace those that have moved on or moved out of the area. But it's mostly 80% repeat customers for both the
Yeah.
commercial sector and for the domestic sector. So
Yeah.
we're in a very comfortable position. We've survived things like the first COVID, the second COVID lockdowns, and we've modified and adjusted to suit those times, but we've also survived the current economic stresses which are on people's domestic budgets.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're in a good position.
Yeah.
Some businesses haven't made it through this period.
Oh God, so many. Yeah, yeah. And actually, I think going back to your point about control of the finances, that's what's I think largely dictated those that have survived and those that haven't as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what are the biggest challenges then running a cleaning business in this marketplace?
The biggest challenges are definitely the fabrics that we have to clean. I mean, they used to be either wool or nylon, maybe a bit of polypropylene around. But these days, designers and textile people are putting in more viscous fibers, more made out of bamboo and paper. And you've got to spot those products.
Yeah.
And they're not always 100% viscous. It could be 50% polyester, 50% viscous. If you see a viscous fiber or you're not sure, you have to identify it, because if you wet it, you can destroy it. So the most important thing is identifying the fabric, talking to the customer about what you've just identified, then setting the customer's expectation on, am I going to be able to clean that? Am I really going to remove that stain? And if I can't, we'll try our best. So it's all around assessing the job and assessing what you're trying to clean. The actual cleaning process, once you picked it and selected it, is fairly straightforward.
And it's interesting that your biggest challenge is actually in the technical side and not in the marketing and sales side as well, because you're in a market that, let's face it, is actually there's a lot of people working in your industry as well.
There is, and at all ends of it as well. I mean, we've been going for nearly 20 years, so we are well established. I think if you're new into the sector, you would struggle a little bit. I'm obviously also a director of the National Carpet Cleaning Association.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Represents some 600 or 700 carpet cleaners, some of the best carpet cleaners throughout the country. So we get to hear what's happening in different parts of the country and how carpet cleaners have adapted to things like COVID. More PPE. I'm looking at customers perhaps that have got their own personal challenges, the older customers, the older generation. You've got to look after them. You can't just go charging into their house and, we can clean this, bring the guys in, get it clean. What do they need? You've got to put your PPE on. You've got to look after your hands, keep your hands clean. You're looking after their health. So you've got to be a bit more careful.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what would you say to anyone then thinking of going into business at the moment?
Let's assume they've got a skill or an ambition. It's taking that skill and that ambition, looking at the market and saying, like, can I compete in this market to earn enough money to do what I want to do with my life? Yes, they're going to have strengths, they're going to have weaknesses, but they've got to see, is there a position in the market for them? Because anyone can start up a cleaning business tomorrow. But they've got to compete against people like myself who have been in it a long time, or they've got to compete at the lower end, which is almost it's to the point where you can't see how they can make a profit at it, because there are people out there doing it at very cheap rates. Whole house for £50. You think, crumbs, that won't even cover the insurance of the van, let alone the cost of the chemicals and the time to get there. So I would have a plan and say, what is the output? What do I want out of this at the end?
And actually you raise a really good point as well, because you've obviously established yourself as a business with a great reputation. Therefore, you are not desperate for business. Whereas if you're just starting out, it's almost a race to the bottom for some businesses who've not differentiated themselves yet.
And I was there as well to begin with. How much do I charge? I wasn't really sure. Do I take on this job? It's a disgraceful carpet. It's falling apart. Do I clean it? Initially I would have taken on several jobs, but in hindsight, I should not have taken on.
Yeah.
But you learn, and you learn on the job. The best way to learn is from other people's experience. So get yourself on training courses. If you're going into the cleaning business, the NCCA run excellent training courses on carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, spot and stain removal. Look around, see what you can learn from other people. Learn from other people's mistakes. Try not to make your own.
Yeah, good advice. Very good advice. Slight change of tack then, David. Who is the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
I would say Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he started in the record industry by taking on clients who other record companies wouldn't take on.
Yeah.
He moved into the airline industry. He moved into business and finance. He's up in space.
Yeah.
The guy sees opportunities and moves into them and does very well in the sectors that he's been in. So yeah, I would put him right up there.
Yeah. Mainly for spotting opportunities.
Dyson as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly different sort of person though.
Yes, he's more of an engineer making the best product he possibly can for his customers. So he's customer focused, whereas Richard Branson was, he was customer focused, but he looked at opportunities. He could see an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Marvelous. So, David, great talking to you. Before we finish, if somebody wants to contact you, what's the best way to do it?
To phone us up, find us on the internet, and phone us up.
Okay, cool, excellent. So, David Weaver UK, it's been lovely talking to you today. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you in the future.
Okay, thank you, Rupert.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Okay, bye-bye.